Actually, 8 steps based on our research. And our research has been both in the field and in the laboratory, and discovering that the innovation process can be easily explained with these 8 steps. Now, the first stage is called generating, and it's made up of 2 steps. And one is called problem finding, and the second was called fact finding. Now, problem finding is, there's an old saying by Woody Allen saying, 80% of anything is just showing up. Problem finding is being aware of where you are, what's happening around you, seeing that almost everything might be relevant, and looking for possible problems and challenges that might be useful to bring into your life or into your company. So that's the first step. And then the second step is gathering information about whatever that possibility is. Not necessarily knowing where you're going, but just starting to understand what the problem is, what the possibility is. They say you've got a customer who's got a difficulty of some kind. Now we move into conceptualization stage, and there are 2 parts to that. One is called problem definition, where we start using the term how might we, and start developing that information we've gathered in the first stage into challenges, starting with how might we. And then we start asking why and what's stopping us, where we're getting into understanding the problem really, really well in terms of the higher level objectives and the lower level tactical problems that might be facing us. Okay, and these 3 steps, 1, 2, and 3, really comprise what we call problem formulation. None of them have anything to do with a solution. They all have to do with making sense of a situation and getting up with a really well-defined problem out of that mess, if we could say that. And now we're ready to move on to the 4th step, which is part of solution formulation. And in the 4th step, we call it idea finding, and this is where we start generating potential solutions to that problem. And often for us, that's easier than the first 3, because once you've got a good beat on what you're trying to do, the solutions can come a lot faster and quicker. And so the step 4 is basically, let's get some solutions, as many as we can, and pick some of the very best ones, which moves us into step 5, which is called evaluation and selection. So here's where we start setting up some formal criteria, talking to each other about what's really important, what criteria are we trying to meet, cost, time to implement, and we start evaluating those best bets. And we end up, out of those 2 steps, which we call solution formulation, and we end up with maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 really, really good ideas. Now we're ready to move into the next step, which is 6, and 6, 7, and 8 are called implementation formulation. Step 6 is called planning. Now the name of the game is we want to get something good done. And that's step 8, which is action. Now how we get to action is by having a very clear plan made about how we're going to get there, to build commitment to where we're going. So step 6 is basically building a very concrete, detailed plan about how we're going to implement that idea that we picked. Step 7 is called gaining acceptance. Often we might have a really good idea, but we have to gain acceptance from other people to implement it. Maybe it's my boss, maybe it's the president, maybe it's my team, but if I've left them out so far, now it's time to explain to them what the benefits are and where we're going and why it's a good idea. After we've done that, the last step in the circular process is action, and this is where we have to commit and take the plunge. And if you don't, somebody has to take the ball over the goal line, and the idea is to get this new idea into implementation and into the field. Once you've done that, you can go around the wheel again, because whatever happens will trigger new possibilities or help you figure out how to work your way through several times through the wheel.